Hello there. Welcome back to Fractals of Flora. I have an interesting subject that I want to talk about today. I was just talking to a friend earlier today about the subject of entities, demons, spirits, and from the non-dual perspective, the role of protection, because there is a lot of talk about protection in the context of shamanic and ceremonial work and psychedelics and the spiritual paradigm. And I've always felt a little bit unsure about what that actually means, considering the fact that I'm coming from a non-dual perspective. And I've spent many years contemplating this and attempting to understand its importance and the role of these things. So, let's start with entities, spirits, demons, things like that. So for me, I've never experienced what I would accurately describe as a spirit or a demon. Though I've had very brief experiences of what I would call the presence of a quote-unquote entity. And this was during a Yopo ceremony where I had a very intense experience with Yopo, the one and only ceremony I did with it. It was very intense. And during the experience, I felt the presence of something that had no definition. I couldn't see it. I have no actual experience of the thing itself as a individual thing in and of itself. But what I experienced was a presence of an intelligence that was hovering above me and feeding me guidance for how to navigate this extremely intense experience. And I would just, as if there was a completely open channel with trust, I would just automatically do exactly what it said. There was no questioning it. There was no contemplating it or what it was telling me, or it was just guiding me in my mind, like basically like how I might describe it as if it was like whispering things in my mind to me and telling me what to do and how to navigate this experience, and I would just follow it immediately without question, as if it was just a completely open, trusting channel that I had with it, quote unquote, I had with it. And maybe I've had one or two other experiences that are not that clear in my memory. But I've never experienced the same one twice. It was always situational, specific to what was happening, and it had a specific purpose for what I was going through in that moment. And so there's no consistency. There's no as if it was a thing that I could revisit and or like have a connection with in any way. It was just there for a moment to guide me through a moment in a experience, and then it was gone. And it wasn't even a thing. It was just, it could have been an imagination of myself. So, after many, many experiences, many years of doing this work, working with people who do work with spirits, entities, demons, whatever, and having many, many experiences with all kinds of medicines, plant medicines, psychedelic medicines, whatever. I've tried a lot of different things. I've worked with a lot of different things. From a non-dual perspective, these things are our consciousness or minds, our mind, it trying to communicate with various aspects of ourself. So what I've found is that any visions are a representation of something that's happening energetically, and it's a way for you to communicate with yourself based on the fact that the mind creates duality. The mind creates the story of duality, not the physical 3D world itself, but the perception that there is individuals and self and other is a construct created by your consciousness, and it is created and fed by the mind. Essentially, you could call this the ego. You could say it is a construct of an ego function. And it's a survival mechanism, and it allows us to do very unique, cool things that we wouldn't probably do without it. So, any experience of spirits or entities or demons are a representation of something that's happening to us energetically. As I was saying earlier in this conversation that I had with this person, say that a demon, quote unquote, a demon or an entity comes into a psychedelic experience. Say it's a group ceremony, because if we go there, then I can get into the protection thing that I want to talk about. So, my conclusion is that people are very very open energetically when they take these medicines. And essentially on the potential for them is to open you up to all the energies, to infinity. And if there are energies that you have not yet learned how to take responsibility for and process within yourself, they may very well show up as this. The only way that the mind knows how to make sense of the situation, which is a representation of what's happening energetically, especially if you are not aware of and connected to your energy in an intimate way. So this energy gets stirred up within you. You haven't taken responsibility for it. You haven't learned how to process whatever this energy is. It could be any one signature of the infinite energetic possibilities that is reality itself. And in reality itself, all the energies are possible. Psychedelics will open you potentially to any possible energy or energetic signature. That's something that they have the potential to do. That's their potential, really. So the only way that your mind and your consciousness knows how to process this is by creating a representation of it for you to interact with, to try to communicate with yourself about what's happening, since you are not able to be directly aware and responsible for that energy and process it. So they're situational. They're reflections of yourself. They're representations of what's happening in your energy. And what I would say about, let's take the example, because this is something that I'm very familiar with, shamanic ayahuasca ceremonies, and this is a context where stuff like this comes in a lot, where there's a lot of talk about protection. And this is something I have been diving into within myself for many years. What is protection from a non-dual energetic perspective, which is how I experience reality? What is it? And what's its role? Is it even relevant? You know, like, what's the point? If you are all the energies, and anything that you might feel the need to protect yourself from is just a reflection of you, what is it, and what's the point? And the conclusion that I've come to energetic transference. It's real. People experience each other's energies, and really it's not each other's, it's all universal energy. But energies can live and show up and create patterns in people. So you can hold and have these energetic patterns and signatures within yourself, And if you and the other person's energies are open enough, there's possibility for someone else to experience that energy that's living in you. Energetic transference. This happens in ayahuasca ceremonies a lot. People's energies are very open. And a lot of people that participate in ayahuasca ceremonies are not necessarily committed, quote unquote, psychedelic yogis. They haven't, or healers. They don't necessarily have the energetic capacity and or skills to navigate all the energies that are possible to come up in a ceremony, in a session like that. And what I'm understanding is that the shaman or the facilitator, they are the person who is supposedly the one who did go through the training and effort and experiences to be able to navigate and take responsibility for a wider variety of energies than the common person. And a lot of people that are coming to ayahuasca ceremonies are coming to them to be healed. They are not trained practitioners or psychedelic yogis or people that have gone through the psychedelic process in order to cultivate the ability to navigate and take responsibility for such a wide variety of energies that can be possible to experience in an ayahuasca ceremony or whatever the medicine is. So essentially, that role is taken on by the facilitator or the shaman. It's about energetic boundaries. It's about transference. It's about what energies are being allowed into the space. Because in that context, like in ayahuasca context, in Shipibo curanderismo or Amazonian curanderismo, it is all about creating the cleanest energetic space possible, because you're holding space, you're creating and holding space for people that haven't cultivated the ability to do this for themselves. So you, as the shaman or the facilitator, you are playing this role. You are doing what you can to create the clean, energetic space so that it is more there's a word I'm looking for, but I'll just use the word accommodating for people to do their work, so that if the space is cleaner, the people have a higher chance of being able to navigate and process the energies that they did come there and are ready to navigate and process. So protection kind of gives the wrong connotation in my perspective, because it gives a connotation of duality. But reality is non-dual. So the truth is, these different embodiments of the fractal, they can transfer onto each other. And when you're in ceremony with a bunch of people under the influence of ayahuasca, everybody's energies are open and sensitive, and it's very easy for energies that are not conducive to what you're working on to come in. And that's why they say, if you don't have someone that can properly play that role, it's very easy for the ceremonies to get chaotic. And I have personally experienced that multiple times, where the energy can get chaotic. It can be intense, even with someone that is playing that role. If there's too many people in an ayahuasca ceremony, I'm someone that's very aware and sensitive to energies. I have been my entire adult life. I mean, even before that, I just wasn't aware of it before the age of 18. But when I take ayahuasca in a group of people, I am experiencing a synergy of everybody in the group, of their energy, of everybody's energy. It can get overwhelming for me to be experiencing everybody's energies, and it's all creating the energy of the ceremony. What everybody is bringing energetically into it is all creating the energy of the ceremony itself. It's a synergy. And the shaman or practitioner is essentially helping to keep the energy in alignment, keep it clean, keep things from transferring in ways that are unhelpful, to keep certain energies clear, to keep it clear, to keep it clean, so that it doesn't transfer onto everybody and take over the energetic signature of the ceremony itself. That's the best way that I can explain that from a non-dual energetic perspective. I personally like to promote radical responsibility for individuals and their energy. I like to work one-on-one, and I don't like to claim to heal people necessarily in that way. Like, I like to teach people how to take responsibility for the infinite energetic signatures that are possible to experience. Because that's how we create true empowerment and true liberation. By facilitating each individual part of the fractal, or person, embodiment of the fractal, to learn how to take responsibility for themselves and all the energies that they experience. That's what I like to promote and facilitate. And that involves working with symmetry, and it involves supporting each individual to, rather than relying on the shaman or the facilitator to hold that space and create that clarity. And, like, the shaman is healing me. He's taking these energies out and processing them for me. Well, how can we get you to learn how to process whatever's possible for you to experience and take the most responsibility for yourself? How can we empower you to ride the infinite waves of who you are as an energetic being? For me, that's the sweet spot. That's the key. Rather than playing the role of doing it for someone, and that paradigm where like someone is doing it for me, that can create the basically a space for projection, really, and putting people on pedestals, and it's more othering, it's more duality. It promotes more duality, I believe, I experience. The most radical form of self-responsibility is to take the most powerful entheogenic medicine, be in symmetry, and allow everything and anything that is possible to experience to move through you, and to just move with it and flow with it and process it and embody it. And you're not letting it get stuck in your body or your system. When you're at that level, when you are in that deep of a flow with having taken that degree of responsibility for yourself, it's just energy. It's just infinite fractal flows of energy moving through you. And no matter what it is, if it's the most scariest energies, the densest energies, the whatever it is, think of anything that a shaman or a facilitator might want to protect someone from. Take all of that and allow it to move and flow through you freely with no sticky points. Radical